Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa McClendon, and today I want to walk through converting a broadcast script into a story for the website. So we're going to look at the KBI story, which I've put with this video. And what I want you to do is just pause me right now and open up the story, read through it so you know what's going on, because I'm going to assume that you've read through it while I'm walking through the edit here. So do that, and then I'm going to share my screen here for us. All right, here we go with the KBI story. We're going to write a web headline. We're going to write a summary. We're going to write a tweet. We're going to write a cut line, and we're going to take this story and turn it into a regular inverted pyramid style story for your website. So you've read the story, you know what's going on. What is going on? All right, what's going on is that KBI agents landed a helicopter at a Dillon's. All right, we do know this because we have gotten confirmation from the KBI director that this actually happened. So we know that. Some other things in this story are speculation and we don't know it. We haven't verified it. And so some things need to come out of the story. Okay, so let's launch the edit first and then we'll come back and do the display type. All right, we don't do any of the chit chat. So all this anchor lead in goes, you know, everybody knows that cops love their donuts, kind of a cheap shot here. So that may not, you know, we probably don't want to carry that theme through the story. May have taken the state attorney general down with them. Well, that's kind of a big accusation there. Let's come back to that. Let's cut this. Okay. Now, when you're turning a story into an inverted pyramid story, we don't keep the script tags or anything like that. So that's going to go off. So we've got the news here. KBI helicopter circled and landed in the Dillon's parking lot in 6th and Lawrence Avenue. Okay, let's give him a new paragraph. All right, with the lead, remember, we rarely want to start with the when. That is usually not the piece of information that is the most important thing. So let's not put that first in the lead. Let's cut that. Let's start here. KBI helicopter circled and landed in the Dillon's, which does not have an apostrophe, parking lot at 6th and Lawrence Avenue, early Monday morning. Okay, so we can say when. We just don't want that to be the very first thing in the lead because usually that is not the most important thing. Okay, we actually know this. We have eyewitnesses who saw it. We have the KBI director who confirmed it. So we are good on this being the lead. I mean, that is sort of unusual for a helicopter to land in a grocery store parking lot. So probably that's good for newsworthiness. Okay, CQ, all that means is that this person's name is spelled correctly, so you don't need to check it. Okay, so we've got, he's a witness here. Remember, in broadcast style, you use present tense. In written style, you use past tense. Said he saw 3 men with a Krispy Kreme. That is not how you spell Krispy Kreme. And get into the chopper. And again, he said he thought it was wrong. So we're setting up his quote here, and that's okay. So we don't need to have the lead in here. I was like, no, they better not have stopped for those donuts. My tax dollars don't pay for that. We already said he thought it was wrong, so we can get rid of this part. And if we're having to bleep it, it's probably not really necessary. So let's just put our attribution here. Boom. Okay. Said he'd never seen anything quite like it. Okay, that's probably true. I mean, and we can leave that in there if we want to. We may want to move that. We'll get rid of our little tag here. Let's just leave that there for a minute. Okay, so we've got the bakery worker, Kathleen Gardner. Her name is spelled like this. It says, as the 4 officers, well, wait a minute, we only have 3 people here. So we're gonna have to kind of think about that. Came up in the counter of the store and asked for a box of donuts. One looked like Attorney General Derek Schmidt. I am pretty sure it was him. Yeah, pretty sure is not good enough. We need actual ID before we basically say the Attorney General is flying helicopters to go get donuts. We can't do that. That's potentially libelous. Okay, so this has got to go. This has got to go. Okay, she declined to say this and refused to say this, which means she's giving us basically no information. So this is going to go, and that's going to go. If we talk to somebody and they don't give us any information that we can actually use, we don't need to quote them. Okay. she doesn't have the number of people right. Maybe there was a guy just sort of standing near the agents that she assumed was with them. Maybe that guy looked like the attorney general, but wasn't. Maybe she didn't get a good look at him. Who knows? But we haven't confirmed like any of that. So all of it needs to come out. So we don't need to put anything about the attorney general's office because we're not sure it was him. But this is important here. So we have KBI director, and remember, you don't need the hyphens when you're doing a written story. You need them in broadcast, but not in written style. Okay, Kirk Thompson confirmed only the 3 KBI. Okay, so he says, yeah, we actually have 3 agents, and we have the helicopter. And yeah, this kind of happened. Now we've got a Thompson and we've got a Thompson. Okay, he's real. Look him up. Okay, you can look him up and figure out that this is his name. Remember, red squiggle lets you know that something is misspelled. Okay, personnel matters are internal KBI business and not subject to scrutiny by the media. That's actually pretty typical. Usually personnel matters are private. That is not anything, you know, suspicious or anything like that. I think we probably don't need that in there anyway, though. Personnel matters are internal KBI business. Okay, we've got his quote. I'll be interviewing the agents myself. Let's drop in his attribution here. They violated policy or procedure. They're going to get disciplined for it. That's all I can say. Okay. You probably don't even need that. You can leave it in if you want. You can take it out if you want. Either one is fine. It's not really adding anything. But yeah, he's going to look into it himself. So that is okay. All right, now we've got this whole background about the attorney general, and we're not sure he's even involved, so that can go. All right, let's get our reporter tag out. We've already ID'd Keith Turner. If you want to remind people who he is, the eyewitness. Okay. We don't know it's Derek Schmidt, so this is not important, but this part is. Okay, so he said dozens of people gathered in the parking lot to watch and stood agog at the spectacle. That's a little overblown. You could just say watching. Oops, you want to spell that right. Traffic even stopped on 23rd Street to watch. Well, that's a neat trick considering the Dillons is on 6th Street. So probably that is what you want. We probably don't need this. And we could probably move this part down to here. Okay, Turner said he had never seen anything quite like it. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's sort of a duh, but we can put that there. That's fine, just kind of ending it up. Now look, we've cut an awful lot out of this story, and that's okay. We've cut stuff that is irrelevant. We have cut stuff that is unverified, and we want to be really careful that we don't leave anything in there that is potentially libelous. Okay, so now we actually have a pretty tight story. You know, the news is that it landed, and then what makes it really interesting is the fact that it looks like they stopped to get some donuts. Okay. So I think it's okay to put Keith Turner first before the KBI director, also because there's only 3 paragraphs before the KBI director at this point. And so he's now pretty high up in the story, and that's all right. And yeah, there's not much to this, but we know what we know. Okay, we're not going to put any commentary in there. We're not going to put stuff that we haven't verified in there. All right, so let's look at our web headline. And this should be just pretty straightforward. KBI helicopter lands at Lawrence grocery store. Okay, remember with a web headline, you always want a location. Okay, you want a location for search purposes, for those aggregator apps that find breaking news, things like that. So you want that in there. Then you can use the summary to go into a little bit more detail. The KBI agents of donuts. Remember donuts in AP style, D-O-U-G-H, nuts. At the store witness. Oops, we want that period there. Let's say the KBI investigating the incident. Okay, short and sweet. I mean, basically that's all we know from the story. Now the tweet you can have a little bit more fun with. We know they went. We don't know that they went specifically to buy donuts. We saw, or we have an eyewitness who saw them with a box of donuts. So maybe you can ask it like a question. Maybe something like, we're KBI agents. And remember, the KBI has agents. They're not officers. They're not deputies. They're agents. So for that they pay helicopter to Dylan's. Okay, we're asking a question. We know they took a helicopter to Dylan's. We don't for sure know why, but we have somebody saying they had a box of donuts. So I think we're probably all right on this one. We're not potentially libeling anybody here. Okay, so we've got a web headline, we've got our summary, we've got our tweet, we need a cut line. Okay, so cut line, first line is what's going on in the picture. A KBI helicopter, maybe it's in the lot of Dylan's at 6th and Lawrence. The witness said the agents a box of, God, can I type here? Donuts at store. Okay, really that's all we need. Okay, a short and sweet cut line. The story is actually pretty short, but it's information that we know. There's no anchor reporter chit chat like you would have in a TV script. Okay, we're just going to be writing this story to be read on your website as opposed to watching a video. Okay, and I'd probably go back and re-edit that video to take out all the stuff about the Attorney General just in case it's not him. And because we don't know that it is him, it's somebody who just looks like him, and we probably don't want to be perpetuating that before we've verified it. Okay, so hopefully that will help you as you are transforming scripts into a story for the website. It's not a hard process, but do remember that you're putting the news first, just like a typical inverted pyramid story, and going from there.